Hi, everybody. We are at 1,649 days. Let's check. And we have a lot of people watching. Um, I was given some information today. A lot of people are watching, so let's not disappoint. We have a lot of news. A lot of good news. 1,649 days since Richard was premeditatedly murdered in the line of duty on Fort Bliss for reporting criminal trafficking, which includes human trafficking. Absolutely, we have uh, gathered a robust amount of evidence that confirms what we have said for years now is true. And now the results are coming in, of course, in April uh, 24, 2024. We received the official declaration of death, which in that paperwork absolutely declared Richard murdered on Fort Bliss. There was no other option. If there was an other option in that paperwork, I would have told you. I would have, I've been transparent. Look, we are 4.5 years. This is not, like we have no pay, like we're impatient or something. No, we have a lot of patience. We've been allowing the government organizations and agencies to examine our investigation leads that we have documented and filed with them and provided the information to them. And they have looked over it, tested it, analyzed it, scrutinized it, and they came back with no other option but to declare Richard deceased on Fort Bliss with paperwork that and receipts that absolutely show that he was murdered on Fort Bliss. And now, just a few days ago, we received the paperwork, and I need to post that. Receive the paperwork, or an excerpt of it, that his death was in the line of duty. Okay, so he was in uniform, and we've been saying that he was in uniform, that he was on Fort Bliss, that he was murdered in the line of duty. And so there's no, this means that Bob Moore and other media outlets have um, not they have not done their due diligence, right? They have not done their due diligence. And I know, we all know, that there is a huge cover up with this, that there is a huge order for silence on this because Richard's case is so big. It's an international murder of a soldier in the line of duty on Fort Bliss, reporting on weapons trafficking on Fort Bliss, human trafficking on Fort Bliss, hundreds of thousands of children that were taken, that were processed through Fort Bliss, trafficked through Fort Bliss, registered on Fort Bliss, then transported out of Fort Bliss to who in the hell knows where. Um, and I hate to say, it's just so upsetting. It's so upsetting because they're saying, okay, we found some of them or whatever, but these were taken children, and it was all unnecessary because Richard was reporting on it, and and he was murdered, and then the cover up. And so the people that murdered him, the people that covered this up, the um those same individuals are also responsible for these hundreds of thousands of children through 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. These hundreds of thousands of children that were trafficked are now mostly dead. They're responsible for all of that because they wanted to, save themselves from the fallout of, you know, they rather they rather commit the most atrocious crimes against children than to go and find themselves a different job. They rather continue profiting off of the weapons trafficking, the child trafficking, the drug trafficking, than to go and find a different job. And so this is, and that's, the motive for the cover up was the criminal syndicate of trafficking. Okay, where there is no justice, there is just a criminal syndicate. That's St. Augustine. It's as old as, and if you've read, it's as old as time, right? Where there is no justice, um, and when I'm talking about justice, I'm talking about every word that proceeds from the mouth of God, the Holy Scripture, the Ten Commandments, right? But every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. Um, where there is no justice, where there is no righteousness, because justice and righteousness are interchangeable, then there's just a band of robbers. It's just a criminal syndicate, and so of course, um, these criminals, these devils in uniform, and not everyone in uniform is a devil. I'm talking about the devils that uh, used our beautiful uniforms, used our beautiful stars and stripes as a disguise to impersonate a patriot, and it's the devil, right? And so this they they're cunning, they're clever, um and so they use the very agencies that are tasked to give us justice and righteousness, and they impersonate, and that's where they infiltrate first. And so right now we are seeing a huge change with the Department of Justice, with the FBI, right? With the FBI. And you have a lot of gnashing of teeth because those that were up to no good, those that use the badge wrongly, like Tavita Nusa, right? Tavita Nusa, um, those that use their stars and stripes badly, like Command Sergeant Major Jake Jakovitz, like so many generals, right? Like I want to say Michael Xavier Garrett. I think he's a major player in all of this because he was the Forcecom general, and he absolutely has bloody hands in this. Um, and needs to be held accountable for what he's done. And so, and they rather, because he was Vanessa Guillen's general also, and he was experiencing the fallout from finding her remains. And I say that because that's where the fallout was finding her remains, because they should have stripped him totally for her murder. And it didn't take finding her remains to know that she had been murdered, because the evidence was everywhere. Okay. The evidence was everywhere, and they were, you know, saving the star that had fallen, right? Sorry, I'm in the middle of making another song and another lyrics in the middle of always, thinking in terms of producing different uh, different ways to get the word out. And so this is just a fallen star. And the devil was a fallen star, Satan was a fallen star. And this group wants to keep them from falling, right? Lift them up, cover them up, protect them, continue paying them their benefits, continue giving them all the blessings of a honorable soldier without being an honorable soldier, without being an honorable service member. They want all the benefits, all the honor, all the blessings, all the respect without being respectable, without being honorable, without without serving for the defense of the Constitution. And because of that, they need to be absolutely court-martialed and stripped from their uniforms. Stripped. They cannot get the blessings that other veterans, other soldiers have died, bled, and died for honorably. They do not deserve the same benefits, the same honor, the same respect as those that were honorable and respectful and gave their lives for this country. And that's why, absolutely, General Mealy needs to be stripped and he needs to find, well, uh, you know, to me, the crime that they have caused, the crimes that they have done are so egregious that they need to face the death penalty. So, but that's me. That's me. And I'm praying I get my way. I'm praying that they will court martial them and they will face the death penalty. And this is McConville. This is Donna Martin. This is because these are not just, regular citizens. These are leaders with so many resources, millions given to them, and equipment, if not billions. I would say billions of dollars. Merely, this is $1 trillion military. Billions and billions and billions of dollars. And our most valuable assets are our men and women, our sons and daughters. And they're given the task to defend the Constitution, to defend this country. And they exploited it. They exploited it. They abused their power. And so they need to be held at a much higher scrutiny than the regular citizen because we gave them our trust. We gave them whatever they wanted. We gave them the open purse. Really, it's an open purse because the Pentagon hasn't passed an audit like 7 times in a row. So we didn't even hold them accountable for failing to account for the money that we've given them. So they have really their sins are egregious, are really egregious. And when there is no justice, they are just a band of robbers, and then death follows, right? So they need to be held accountable. And with that, it goes to, and this is, and I want to make very, very clear, because I'm a Patton fan, right? I love General Patton. I love General MacArthur. Especially since I have a very close relationship with South Korea, and South Koreans love General MacArthur because he just holds the banner, the reward for the least amount of deaths for his responsibility, but also for the other side, for the enemies. He could win a battle, um, and have the least amount of deaths, for both sides. And that is a man of honor. That is really a man of honor, a general of honor. And he has a big statue there, and it's really, and of course, I'm a big George Washington fan. Um, so, this is, all my life, go Army, right? But these traitors, these treasonous traitors, like Mealy and McConville and um, Donna Martin and Garrett and Sean Bernabe and David Stewart and then the senior NC, Clem Coward um, and Michael Garrett and those that are associated with him are just absolute. They need to face the death penalty for what they've done. Absolutely. And then we have in El Paso, just to let you know, Bill Hicks, the usurper, he's absolutely usurper. Well, he needs to be arrested. He absolutely needs to be arrested. They think they could just walk away, that they can do all this crime and just walk away, Mr. Purchase usurper. And yeah, he's really up to no good. And because he's up to no good, and because we know that he is um, being investigated, these are active and ongoing investigations. We know that. Um, he withdrew his um, his name from any other appointment because he couldn't win an election. We saw that. Um, the shocking thing is, I did see Deliris Montanez-Berrios, who you know we had to break communication with her because um, more and more information. She's a pilot. She is a pilot. That needs to be scrutinized because of her being there at Santa Teresa International Jetport. She is also a Veterans Administration agent, which needs to be scrutinized because of any conflicts of interest with James Courtney Hart. And um, we have documents after documents where Leilani Hart is um, absolutely writing about how there is forgery, how there is forging names of our veterans for disability benefits, coaching them who I guess recruiting for the criminal activities. And naming all the activities, but using really abusing the Veterans Administration and the Veterans Disability Benefits, um, fraudulently misusing for personal gain, misusing his position for personal gain, and and naming all kinds of different people, and with Deliris being a Veterans Administration agent, that has been confirmed. Okay, that's been confirmed. Um, so there there's ties there. There's a lot of ties there, and with all of that, her uh, for her to comment on Bill Hicks, the usurper, that needs to be arrested. When, here the ties are with the Hart family that absolutely need to be arrested too, right? And so you have the Harts that need to be arrested too, especially Leilani Hart. Leilani Hart, there is no other way to look at it. She has to be arrested, right? And immediately. I mean, Yeah, and I'm going to get into that in a minute, but she absolutely, with the sworn confession, the which was the affidavit that was um, turned in right when Richard was murdered, the October 16th um, documents that we have from her, which talks about the VA, her husband, all the fraud and all of that for the disability benefits and personal gain and all the methods they use to do it and everything. And to know that Deliris is there at the VA, and then Bill Hicks, totally a fraud, totally non-responsive to prosecuting Leilani Hart when absolutely she needs to be prosecuted, and she's a convicted criminal, long convicted criminal, way before it started, way before Richard was even born. It started when she entered the country because in these documents she confesses to being an illegal alien, having this immigration problem, right? And so, absolutely, Bill Hicks should have arrested Leilani, or had her arrested, right? Prosecuted her for the crimes that she has committed, these felony crimes that she has committed, and on and on. And then he himself, with tampering with the Secretary of State, his statement of officer with the Secretary of State, his timestamps, because um, he's a fraud, right? He did not install properly as a district attorney. It seems like he did not want to sign that anti-bribery line, right? The anti-bribery statement, called the statement of officer. He didn't want to sign the anti-bribe line, but he needed to, and I should put that video up, that music video up, because that's one of the better songs that I really like. I think it turned out really good. The anti-bribe line. You didn't sign the anti-bribe line. Bill Hicks, you're a usurper. And Deliris knows all of this because she has followed this page religiously, since February of 2021, and which is also telling. And to leave a statement, to leave an encouragement to Bill Hicks, a usurper, saying that he did the best he could in the situation he was. What do you mean he did the best he could with the resource? What does she say? With the resources and tools that were given to you. He was the district attorney. And why is he still on Facebook as district attorney? He's not district attorney. He never was a district attorney. He was usurper Bill Hicks. And now he's like being an imposter with district attorney Bill Hicks. He never was district attorney because, according to the Texas Constitution, he's a lawyer. He should know this. According to the Texas Constitution, in order to be a district attorney, you have to, number one, be elected or be appointed. He was appointed. It was a when they were in recess, a recess appointment. Um, and, that was also a big deal because his life was a whole mess. His whole professional life was a mess. And so the only way that he could get into that position, to me, without scrutiny, would be a recess appointment when the Senate, the Texas Senate, were not required to look at his CV, right? This is what President Trump is fighting against. He was not the best of the best. He was not the best. Was he a DEI hire? Oh, no, you can't say that. You can't say he was a DEI hire. Then what was he? What was he? Because he wasn't the best of the best. Why did they choose him? Um, and put him in during a recess. And then the real topper of this whole thing is that he didn't, even with that huge gift, where he didn't have to go through an election, where he didn't have to go through any kind of scrutiny from the Senate to look at his professional and personal record, which was a total mess, that he couldn't even look a gift, you can't look a gift horse in the mouth or whatever, right? He got this great gift and he couldn't even install properly. He couldn't even follow the simple instructions from Texas Constitution Article 16, Section 1, I believe, where you have to sign that anti-bribe line before you take the oath of office. Makes sense, right? You haven't been bribed, so now you can take the oath of office. And then you can take the oath of office, and then you are the district attorney. He didn't do that, y'all. He did not do that. He's a usurper, okay? They wrongfully whatever you feel. And Deliris was even attacking Rosales in this. And once Bill Hicks was the district attorney in that office, he wasn't authorized, right? He didn't have any authority because he wasn't real. But he was using the resources that are huge. You're talking about Texas. Everything in Texas is huge. And El Paso is special. El Paso's no different, right? He had all kinds of resources, the usurper, that he really, to me, he stole them. He's a thief. He's a thief. He's a usurper. He also protected the criminals that are polluting and hurting and maiming and trafficking, and he absolutely protected Leilani Hart, who is a prime suspect in the murder of a U.S. Army whistleblower soldier reporting on the trafficking, the weapons smuggling, the human trafficking, the drugs, all the fentanyl. People, everyone knows someone that died of these drug poisons, right? And they were, this is what I said, what was so insane. They were all crazy about, the mandates. Remember 2021, 2020, 2021? They were, it's all about your health. No, they wouldn't even follow the protocols in the barracks. They were bringing in these young girls. They were bringing in all kinds of drugs. They were bringing in all kinds of alcohol. They were, having these co-ed barracks. They were allowing, the cases like Asia Graham, where she was hurt in the worst way, in the barracks. And of course, cases like Richard, where it was very, very unhealthy. It was very, very toxic. It was very, very poisonous, mentally and physically, to young people. The Cobra Strike stuff, right? That I can't really say. The Cobra Strike stuff, that was like, if you were a young person, zero chance of ever even being hurt by it, right? Okay, you get some sniffles. Okay, you can't smell for a couple weeks, but then you nothing happens. Nothing happens. And I don't even believe I don't, I'm I don't believe in viruses. So, and then people, what do you mean you don't believe in viruses? No, there's a lot of good things came out of that. But anyway, there's other things that make us sick. But uh, you know, and we're not allowed to discuss them, right? And you see how crazy they were during these hearings about healthcare and all of that. If they wanted us healthy, they would let the water flow. They would let the water flow. They would give us really clean crystal water, let it flow. There's so much water. There is so much water. And, of course, here being with the storm and everything, there was so much water. And we have really great ways to make it crystal clean, make it very, very healthy. And if they really wanted us to be healthy, They would let us take our showers. They would let us do our gardens and our lawn, and it would be super cheap, and they would let us drink our water and, just water everywhere for really cheap. That's the best way to make a people healthy. And you see that with, like Mexico City. Mexico City back in the day, back in, uh, in history, it was like Versailles, the way they built it. You look at Berlin, you look at Paris, you look at all of these old structures, how they were structuring water, how they were bringing in water to the people, and very healthy ways. And I think these, the skewing of history, when all you have to do is look at structures and um, look at the hard evidence, and you see that the narrative doesn't fit with what the hard evidence shows, right? Um, so yeah, and I know I got on a tangent there, but it's late at night. We're burning the midnight oil. It's Friday night, right? It's Saturday morning. It's Saturday morning, so get on a little bit of a tangent there, um, but absolutely, Bill Hicks had all the resources, right? All the resources, and he stole them. I think he stole them. He needs to pay restitution. Talk about going on a tangent. He needs to pay He needs to pay it all back. And he was messing with the money that was being brought in from drug raids and stuff like that, and he was using that to pay his legal fees from the SB4 and stuff. I mean, it goes on and on, the corruption, right? And so, this was he was given everything, and he blew it, and he blew it. And so to see him not, withdraw his name from, an appointment, I'm very, very happy, because that's a huge indication that the active and ongoing investigations are, getting down, or well, we have a different administration, right? We have a different administration right now. That means business. And the FBI, that they're, gnashing their teeth because they have to show up for work. They can't just go to the Hoover building. They have to actually go out and catch bad guys. They have to actually look at the criminal reports coming into them and go catch the bad guys, go investigate. Don't tell the Gold Star family, well, you investigate and bring us leads, and then we'll see, otherwise we can't do anything. I mean, so they absolutely, many of them need to be replaced. They need to be replaced with honorable, respectful law enforcement agents. And there are, many of them. There are many of them. Matter of fact, I met a real nice one when my dad was still alive. That has been very, very helpful here. And yeah. So, God has provided, God has provided so much, so many contacts that we have been able to move this case forward. And, now with Kash Patel, he did such an awesome job yesterday. I've been following him for a while because of Richard's case. And he was, even with the Biden administration, he was doing things that were just amazing with the Russia hoax, and with the emails. The first time I heard his name, it was in the bleach bit emails. Um, and then, of course, with the laptop from hell, these things that he is very apt. That's what we would say. He's very apt. He's very able. He's very qualified for this job, unlike Bill Hicks. Bill Hicks was never qualified to be district attorney, but Kash Patel is very qualified to be the director of the FBI. And we are already seeing things happening. And, we're looking very closely at the borders are at the DHS, what's happening in El Paso, because, our laser focus. Maybe I should get one of those pictures where my eyes are laser focused. Our laser focus is that Leilani Hart gets arrested. That's our laser focus. Okay. Um, she absolutely needs to be arrested. And, and I was hoping that they would absolutely arrest Bill Hicks, because he absolutely needs to be arrested. But our laser focus is Leilani Hart. She needs to be absolutely arrested. And there's many different ways, because ICE can come. Maybe she's on the list for ICE to come and get her and deport her, because she's really, has been a criminal since she has come into the country and has taken advantage of our country in the worst kind of ways. Um, or she could be arrested for lying to the FBI, right? Or she could be arrested for failing to report the worst type of crimes against a child, against children, and also for facilitating the worst type of crimes against children. So, any of those, possession of the worst type of films um, that are illegal with children in them, um, she can be arrested for that. She can, there's so many reasons why she can be arrested because she's just this major criminal. And of course, she is the prime suspect in the murder of a U.S. Army whistleblower soldier that was murdered on Fort Bliss in the line of duty for reporting criminal trafficking and weapons smuggling, human trafficking, and all that. So that is really huge news. And I was very, very disappointed to see Deliris. We've taken this pause. But because we were notified that she is a security threat. And now to see this kind of communication on Bill Hicks, who is an absolutely criminal security threat, and her supporting him, um, is very concerning, very, very concerning about her conflicts of interest. It really does corroborate what we have been warned about, and what is going on. So we just have a few, it's always these few days away, but we're very patient. Um, uh, President Trump needs to get his people in there, and it looks very promising, because Kash Patel is so qualified, and his CV is so amazing, absolutely amazing, that he should uh, get sworn in very soon, and then Wowzer, right? And this whole thing with the flights that are going on, with the helicopter, and I've just there's part of me that braces myself, because when justice is rearing its head, and it has been rearing its head. I mean, have you seen anything like this in the last 2 weeks? Anything like this before? Never. I mean, the swamp is really, eh, eh, they see it coming. They see the bleach coming, right? They see the actual bleach coming. They see the cleaning up. Um They see the plug being pulled, the funding being pulled, and that goes for El Paso because the funding for NPR, the funding, that's Angela Kachurga. And Angela Kachurga is up to no good. She has conflicts of interest that are really, really national security threats. Okay. So to see her funding get pulled is very, very important for the good of our country, for the good of El Paso. Um, and, I'm just going to tell you like it is because, she can talk a pretty talk. They give this presumption that they care, that they are noble and good. They try, they talk this talk, they are slithering snakes. They are slithering snakes, but they have none of it. They have no care. They have no care. They are absolute part of the criminal group, and I would call them the El Paso cartel. I would call them Fort Bliss cartel. Let's call them what they are. They are an organized criminal group, and they mean us harm. They mean us harm. So, yeah. And, with Deliris making these comments on Bill Hicks, when I know that he's part of this criminal group, uh, I just, wow, don't tell me that she's part of this criminal group because that's what it's, the evidence, the indications, um, that is where, what we were warned about, what we were warned about from well, let me just, I don't want retaliation because just to do a pause you get retaliation, right? You get threats. If you just want to pause in communication, you ruffle feathers, and it's like, why do I ruffle feathers if I just want to pause? Let's just pause. We've been, we need to check out this warning that we got, and yeah, it's been very, very enlightening what's going on. And then also to be lied to, to be lied to about being a pilot, to be lied to about being an agent in the Veterans Administration, to be lied to like that, and to be lied to through like the Dance of Dreams connections, the horse connections, right? Um, those events and everything like that. It's to be lied to like that, especially when what we're doing is trying to find the remains of our son, to get the remain. They've already absolutely confirmed and declared that Richard was murdered in the line of duty on Fort Bliss. Now we want his remains, and we want accountable those that perpetrated this and covered this up and misled the investigation, tried to redirect the investigation, tried to obstruct justice in the investigation, tampered with evidence, tampered with witnesses, because we have evidence of all of that. And that's why Roddick, Lieutenant Colonel Roddick, is so important, because they absolutely tampered um, with evidence to cover for him. And so who is he, right? So who is he? So covering for Dallas Hart, being the platoon leader of Richard Halliday. There's just a lot of covering for certain individuals, and to cover for them, they had to tamper with evidence and interfere with witnesses. And uh, but it hasn't worked because our key witness, Judge Roger Rodriguez, who identified Leilani Hart and uh, disgraced, well, she's a confirmed criminal. I always try to say, she's a confirmed convicted criminal. And then the disgraced former um, def- defrocked defrocked uh, CID agent who lost his badge, Tavita Nusa, who's also a family member for Leilani Hart. Also, she had a very personal relationship with him, but she had a lot of personal relationships, like with DES, Thomas Kane, um, and other very um, important. Her husband was IDS Pablo at the Veterans Administration. So yeah, they human resources is something to look at. So it has all come together. We have more than enough, and Leilani Hart absolutely needs to be arrested, and Tavita Nusa, who was also identified by our key witness as tampering with Richard's investigation files, giving um, uh, unauthorized access to Leilani to tamper, um, to obstruct, to destroy. Um, yeah. And for her to file all those documents and then be the mother of Richard's platoon leader, and to be identified as tampering and accessing Richard's file, and having this relationship inside the CID, which Tavita Nusa was working on Richard's cases, um, and for the chain of command and the task force not to be transparent about that, not to notify us about that, not to explain that when we clearly asked them, because there were leaks and we were telling them there were leaks. Um, and then just shooing us away, and then the conflicts of interest with Nadal Baim, and telling us that Nadal Baim was nobody when they have absolute conflicts of interest with Nadal Baim. um yeah, it is, and Nadal Baim being the father-in-law of Bradford Bugado and the G3 of the 32nd ATCOM, which was Richard's command. Yeah, this case is huge, it's big. Having the three autopsy reports, we're learning more and more information about that. Um, so, they tried to cover all of that up, but because of a new administration, there's a new time, and, it takes a while for it to sink in when you have been conducting criminal activities with with um, with no accountability for so long, you know, just for so long. They've been able to do this, and in so many different ways. And now, those that were made the investigators, that were uh, targeted, hurt, threatened, um, bullied. I can't even tell you what everything they've done. Um, you know, this is the time for um, for justice, and we won't back down. We are laser focused. Those that hurt Richard, those that covered up, those that hurt those children, those that are intertwined with Richard's case and with um, the human trafficking, those that are intertwined with Richard's case and are involved in the Walmart mass shooting, those that are intertwined with Richard's case and involved with the detention of El Mayo with the Santa Teresa port of entry. Um, they need to be held to every every penalty that the law absolutely, even the death penalty for what they've done. Yeah, absolutely, because they mean us harm. They mean us harm. And I don't think that that they're ever satisfied. Their belly is never full enough. Um, they mean us harm. So thank you so much. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Anicia, for coming on. And just a lot of good news coming back. And we are absolutely filing, and refiling. Because this is a different administration. And, and what I want to say to people that find themselves in a like situation that we are in, you can never get down because you'll get all kinds of garbage back, right? You'll get all kinds of stuff. Um, but you can never get down. You got to keep going and never give up. Never give up. And keep documenting and keep filing. And this is, a very important case um, because it is intertwined with Mexico, because which is America, right? It's Central America. And we need to remember that we're Americans and that what we do here affects across our borders. And what happens, and I think that President Trump made the point very good today, what they do in their countries affect our country. They can't just, let the fentanyl that's killing thousands and thousands just flow into our country. They can't do. We have to be good neighbors. We have to be good neighbors to them, and they have to be good neighbors to us. And yeah, I think that is a really great lesson. We are Americans, and when we do well, Mexico does well, Canada does well. When they do well, we do well. So it's symbiotic. So thank you so much. And it's all about the rule of law. It's all about it's all about that. So thank you so much. God bless you. And I will be back. And well, it's already tomorrow, but I will be back later on. God bless. Bye bye.